Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm working with the fabulous What's Cookin' stamp set, and it comes with on its own obviously, or as a bundle with the 10% discount with these fabulous dies here. And they cut out a mixture of the items that are in the stamp set, and that's most of the images that are in there, and with then some extra ones as well. So you get this great spatula and whisk, which obviously if you cut them out of metallic paper, make great little sort of extra utensils. I've got some here, as you can see, so sort of little whisks and things as well. So really good fun stamp set, and a really useful one for both men and women, you know, if you're making cards for them, because you've got lots of other things you can make it with. And what I'm going to be using today is this one here, which is like a chopping board. I'm going to be using our little salt and pepper mill. And I'm also going to be cutting out, doing a bit of fussy cutting as well. Obviously that's up to you, but I'm going to use the knife as well. There we go, lovely chef's knife. I thought I'd make this card here. So great fun card. You can see sort of our salt and pepper mill here, and our chopping board, which gives a lovely grain effect. And then I have to say I have done a little bit of fussy cutting for these tomatoes and mushrooms and little sort of celery sticks as well. Now these ones here, you'll see I've actually stamped on some of our wood grain paper, but I'm going to show you those stamped on our ordinary crumb cake cardstock as well, just so you can get an idea of the comparison. And then the knife here that you can see got a bit of a shine. Just added a bit of Wink of Stella to that after I've coloured it, and just coloured that with a little bit of smoky slate ink as well. So just using our ordinary blender pen for that. So yeah, let's get cracking. So to start off with, I've got a standard card base, which here in the UK I've cut that to 10.5 by 29 centimetres, score at 14.5 to create our card base. I've got a little bit of our in colour DSP. No, they're not in colour DSP at all, they're the colour family DSP. So they're these ones here where you get 48 sheets. Is it 48? 40 sheets for each of the 10 colours in 2 designs of each of the colours in the colour family. So for example, I mean, I've got a double pack here, but so these are the designs you get. Lovely stuff, stripes and spots and things. So great fun, really useful, and it means that you've always got paper to coordinate with our lovely colours as well. And these ones I think are perfect because they're enough pattern without being sort of too much. So I've just got a piece which is 5 by 10.5 there, and then this one is actually about 4.7. So if you're not comfortable working in those, then round about 4.5 just gives us a slightly bigger margin. So that'd be 2 inches by 4 1/8 of an inch, and then probably I'd use 1 7/8 again by 4 1/8. That just gives a little border to that as well, just to go onto the card there. So I'm then going to use our lovely little stamp set here, which has got our sort of tomato slice and mushroom and celery slice, and I'm just going to use a bit of Pear Pizzazz ink, and all I'm doing is just creating a kind of a random pattern in there, and just by turning that, got a sort of pattern. This one I haven't stamped very well. I obviously didn't stamp very squarely, so actually I will cover that up with a coloured one. Now what I need to do now is clean that off, because I need to stamp some in Memento ink. So whenever you want to do any colouring on these, and with our alcohol pens, then just use, you can see my well-loved chamois, but you can see how clean that gets that. Absolutely fantastic. So Memento ink. So I'm going to put that to one side for a moment. And I'm just going to stamp these And you'll see they've already got some shading on them, so when you add a bit of colour to them, they will just pop. And use whatever colours you happen to have handy. So I use the stuff crumb cake for the mushrooms, and all I did was just sort of come in and just colour those very quickly. And if you want to add a bit more colour afterwards, just let that dry and then you can come in and add a bit more. Obviously you get both. I'm using a bit of a Poppy Parade I've picked up here, but it works equally well with real red as well on that. They're not particularly big areas to sort of colour in, so just add a little bit once it's dried. And what have I picked up? I picked up a bit of Just Jade, and what you might want to do is just add a bit of green to the top of those tomatoes. Like so. There we go. And then all I'm going to do is just fussy cut those out. Now, if fussy cutting isn't your thing, that's fine too. I've already done a few of these, but I'm just very quickly cutting those out. As I say, if they're not your thing, that's fine. I would suggest you just stamp them and so don't put the extra ones on, but I just think it makes a really nice finished effect if you can add these to it. And as I said, because I've mis-stamped, I shall use an extra one of those just on to add a bit of dimension. So as I said, I've done some of these already. So there we go, some extras you're going to ping about. So just a cut of mushrooms as well. And this is where our mini dimensionals really come into their own, because they're fantastic for fitting onto these things. Don't have to cut our dimensionals in half anymore, so that always helps. So just trim those down. So we've got some nice little items there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my chopping board. And to get that, really make that wood grain bit stand out, what I'm going to do now is dip my chopping board die into my ink pad. I'm just literally resting that. You can see there's just a little bit of ink that it's picking up on those ridges. Right. So what I'm going to do now is pop that down, and if you can, try not to let it move. So to help me with that, I'm just going to pop a piece of tape on the back there, just to try and stop any movement. I'm also going to stamp my salt and pepper mill, and I'm going to stamp that in my crumb cake as well. And it's already got the shading onto these, so you'll see that when you stamp them, you get quite a lot of shading. My crumb cake is obviously quite, I'm actually going to turn that over, it's quite juicy. Oh, there we go, yeah, as you can see, that's better. And then the last thing that we're going to stamp on my scrap bit of paper here is my knife. So again, with this one, because I'm going to do a bit of colouring in, I'm just going to stamp that with Memento. And again, you can see there's already shading on the handle there. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab my mini cut and emboss. I'm just going to pop these through in a couple of passes to get those die cut. And you see I've already got a bit of tape here to hold those in place. And as you put that through, because you've inked up those top ridges, when you take that off, you'll see here that it's got a really good impression on there. So do the same again, pop through my... I've recently cleaned these, they're a little bit damp, the plates, so a little bit sticky. Just pop that through. And with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, it's really easy to get the right sandwich, because it tells you what the sandwich is on the plates themselves. And the last one I want to do, obviously, is this knife. So if I move that out of the way, it will help. So again, just make sure that's sort of hugging the outline. Okay, so we've got our knife, we've got our chopping board, and we've got our salt and pepper mill, which I haven't actually cut out very well on those. Go. And then all I'm going to do is take my blender pen, and I'm just going to go over that slightly, just to blend that in. If you want to add a little bit more colour, my usual, just grab a bit of smoky slate ink, see on the edge there, like so. Then if you then come in and just add some Wink of Stella, that'll then obviously give the appearance of shine. Hopefully you can just see on that blade. It's a really dull day here today, this is an aside. Not very nice at all. And while those are kind of drying sort of slightly, what I'm going to do is push them to one side, and I'm going to do my stamping at the bottom of this with the sentiment. So again, I'm going to use my Pear Pizzazz ink pad, because where this stamps will dictate where we put the layer across. So I'm just going to glue that layer flat across. So again, with some Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to pop that across there. Like so. Then we can start layering up all our different elements. So I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals. And I mentioned this one up here that I did a rubbish job of stamping. Well, on goes a little tomato. Grab a couple of big dimensionals, or standard dimensionals, for my chopping board. And with this, obviously, you want it to be fairly well supported. So I'm going to pop one in each down the corner, and another one up here, and I'm just going to pop a mini dimensional on the handle as well, just because you don't want that to get bent over. So I'm putting the larger elements onto the card first, and then my vegetables will go on afterwards. So I'm just going to pop that just at a jaunty angle. Now hopefully my knife is ready, and what I've done with my salt and pepper mill is the one I've actually put flat onto the card, and then the second one I've then layered up on dimensionals, like so. And then I've actually double layered my knife, up to you entirely, but what I wanted to do is kind of give that a real sort of sense of extra dimension of stuff being chopped. So I put one to go on the end there, which is where it's on top of the board. So it's a dimensional on top of the one that's on the board, and then the next ones I'm going to stack 2 up. So I'll put one on my card and put another one on the top, and the same on the end of the handle. So again, dimensional on top, then a second one. Now I've taken the dimensional off. Right, okay, start again. So I've taken the dimensional back off now. So you can see here, so this one's a single, and then the next 2 are doubles. And they're going to go single onto the chopboard, and then the doubles will go along there. And then the next thing to do is just to pop the rest of our vegetables on wherever we fancy. So again, some of them I've popped on flat, some I've popped on a dimensional. So I've generally done a couple of tomatoes on dimensionals, and along with a couple of mushrooms. But because they're teeny tiny little celery bits, I'm just going to pop those on with a dab of glue. So I'm just popping those on. And you can just be as random as you like with these now. So the others, because they've got dimensionals on, we can just pop those. I just thought it's like sort of really good fun, and this is great for, you know, sort of the chefs in your life, those who love a bit of cooking. You know, there's so many cookery programs on now which, you know, have really opened it up to lots of people. There we go. Let's just add one more tomato just for. So that's more like my kitchen, because I'm a messy cook. And what I'll do is I'm going to even that up, because I've put one of those on dimensional higher up. Looking at it now, I think I probably want to have an extra one on. So I can just add that on. So there we have our fun cookery card. We've got stamped onto wood effect paper in good taste, or just onto crumb cake. Ink up your die to get the textured effect, and then just a bit of fussy cutting. So thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon, and if you'd like to purchase any of the products you've seen, just pop along to my blog at flutterbyheidi.co.uk. Links in the description bar below, and likewise there are also links in the description bar and on my blog to where you can purchase the products from my shop. Thank you everyone. Bye now.